On because we're going to speak now to Representative Mike Flood, Republican of Nebraska and a member of the Financial Services Committee. Congressman Flood, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Just wanted to start with your reaction to President Trump's speech yesterday.
Well, despite the media coverage that we've seen during the past couple of weeks, we have made incredible progress. Just passing the One Big Beautiful Bill, the reconciliation process, we allowed farmers in Nebraska to be able to pass their farm on to the next generation without paying incredible taxes, which would force them to sell the farm, to pay the taxes, to stop the next generation. We have made progress on unleashing American energy independence, and just this morning a new CPI report came in and said the inflationary number came in below expectation. They were expecting 3.1%. It's at 2.6%. That's the biggest drop since March of 2025. So there is a lot of good news out there, and I think when the American people start to experience these tax cuts, start to take advantage of the lower prices that are coming, 2026 will be a great year for America.
And the president and the vice president both gave the grade for the economy of A+++++. Is that the grade that you would give?
Listen, I'm not an economist. I know that home affordability is an issue right now. Something your viewers probably don't know is that yesterday, and only C-SPAN had this, by the way, yesterday, Democrats and Republicans in the Financial Services Committee, on a vote of 50-1, advanced landmark legislation to the floor that will that will address home affordability. It will make cities like Lincoln and Chicago and Baltimore more effective in deploying federal dollars by removing burdensome regulations like unnecessary environmental reviews and some of the Build America, Buy America restrictions that make it hard to price a refrigerator. All of that is coming. We're going to unleash the power of manufactured housing. That's the real story of this Congress. And if you were watching that hearing yesterday, and by the way, sadly, the only media in America that had it was C-SPAN because you carried our hearing, but you heard Maxine Waters, Emmanuel Cleaver, longtime housing advocates on the same page with me and French Hill as the chair of the housing subcommittee. There are good things happening in Washington, and there are good bipartisan things happening because in our committee, we involved the Democrats from day one. That's how we got to a vote of 50-1. That should be the story today, not the divisiveness that everybody feeds on.
Well, hate to get back to the divisiveness, but we do need to talk about healthcare, which is not bipartisan right now. And there was a House vote yesterday on the GOP plan that does not extend ACA subsidies. You voted yes on that. Why?
Well, let's say this. I am the chair of the Main Street Caucus. Our caucus has always had an interest in extending the ACA tax credits as long as it's paired with real reform. What we did yesterday was something that the entire broad spectrum of Republicans could agree on. Pharmacy benefit manager reform, just taking a look at the way these association plans work. And listen, the Wall Street Journal came out and said that if we adopt what we advanced yesterday, it will save money, it'll reduce premiums across the United States by 12% for everybody. Now, as it relates to the ACA tax credits, this is a real issue. It's a real hard issue, especially. There's 24 million Americans on it. This is 7% of all insureds. Of the 24 million, the GAO and others have independently said that up to 12 million of those did not file a claim last year. What does that tell you? That tells you fraud is rampant. And we have said, as Republicans, I have said, I am open to extending the ACA tax credits, but you've got to stop the fraud, and this discharge petition doesn't do this. This discharge petition lets people at 400% of poverty. Some folks, depending on where they live, could be getting subsidies and they're making $280,000, $300,000 a year. That's not right. But let's be honest about where we're at. This is not a lawmaking exercise over here. The Senate took this issue up. It did not get anywhere close to 60 votes. So everything you're seeing in the House right now is pure theater on the ACA tax credits because the Senate is not going to extend them. And so you can have discharge petition after discharge petition. This is an issue for a campaign. This is not a lawmaking exercise. What I did yesterday in the Housing Committee, on the Financial Services Committee, that was actual lawmaking. What we're talking about here is theater.
So what is your message to your constituents as you go back for the holiday season on those expiring ACA subsidies? What are you telling them, the people that can no longer afford health care?
Well, to your point, when people call my office and they say, hey, here's what's happening to my premium, I call them back, I get the data, that's why I'm supportive of extending the tax credits. If I had a crystal ball, here's what I'd be thinking. We're going into January, we've got a funding deadline of January 30th. It would not be improbable to think that this issue is going to come back, aside from the discharge petition, and we could act retroactively. I don't know what's going to happen. I know this issue is not going away, and I know there are families across America that are going to see an increase in their premiums. Just like people in the private insurance market that get it through their employer, they see the same increases. As a member of Congress, I'm on Obamacare. I know how expensive it is. I know, quite honestly, that some of the coverage that I get is nothing like I had when I was on private insurance. So this is a legitimate issue. I don't want to diminish its significance.
Congressman, did you say you're on Obamacare right now?
Well, every member of Congress is on the government-sponsored plans per the Affordable Care Act. And I can tell you when you look at, now, I'm not on the exchange. I get it through the House of Representatives, but I can tell you what I was paying as an employee of a company, a private employer, I got a much better rate and I got much better coverage, I thought. Now I'm on the government plan, I'm paying a lot more in premium and I'm not seeing the same benefits. So listen, I understand it, I get it. I know this is an issue, I don't want to diminish it, but we have to find a way to do real reform, and we have to talk about something that can actually pass.
And when you talk about it coming up again in January and possibly acting retroactively, can you explain how that would work for people's health insurance?
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, right? You know, I was told that in the past, we've acted, and as long as we get it done before April 15th or whatever, you can deal with a lot of things because there's deadlines there. But listen, when I say I'm open-minded, that means I'm open-minded. That means I want to solve the problem to the best of my ability. I want to cut the fraud. I want to not be handing this out to people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You know, I'm worried about that 64-year-old female married to a 63-year-old male. She's still working. She's going on Medicare in a year. He's retired. They have to be in the exchange for at least, he does, for another 2 years, and his premium goes from $2,100 to $3,200. I know this guy. I've talked to him. He lives in Butler County, Nebraska. I sat down, I understood his situation, and it's a real pinch, and it's a real problem. But at the same time, we can't be handing out upwards of $12,000 a month to somebody that fraudulently is gaming the system, and there's up to 12 million people that are doing it, 12 million recipients or fraudsters out there. That's not right either. If you were running a business and you knew that your health insurance costs were skyrocketing and that one half of all of the premiums you're paying out are fraudulent, I should say tax credits, you'd shut the stage lights off and say, that's not right, we can't operate this way. People expect fiscal responsibility, and that's what we have to deliver while we talk about reform.
Representative Mike Flood, Republican of Nebraska, thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me on.